Everybody learns at their own paces, and yeah, we crashed our airplane is what we did. One thing took my eye off the ball because I had to worry about this because that was the most pressing thing, and then next thing we know, we're doing things wrong over there, which was frustrating for me because we did it the day before right here. We just need to copy. And this is frustrating for them when I have to go back and rip their work out, and they're thinking like they're making progress, and then we go back to square one.
Nobody likes double work.
No, nobody does. It's fine to do it once, but when you have to go back and do it again, it makes everybody frustrated. So would you guys like to know what we're talking about now? Because Tuesday was rough. This is our gracious homeowner that got to watch our shipwreck. This one little thing right here is where everything failed on Tuesday. And I need to back up just a little bit to explain how we got here. So Tuesday was not a good day. You saw the trailer wreck video from about 10 days prior, and this was on a whole new level than the trailer wreck video. So when I pulled up to the job site on Tuesday, there was water spraying everywhere. And I was a little confused about why we would have that because all 4 of these posts had already been set and we had moved on. Now my instruction was that this post and this post remain, but these 2 posts got set out of alignment, and so I wanted them to pull this post and this post for the gate and re-line them up with the string line, make sure they were perfectly fine. Somebody came over here and ripped this post out, which wouldn't have been a problem. But when they ripped this post out, they decided they needed to set up a string line again. That frustrated me because we don't need to set up a string line. We already have a post here. We could just point this post back in the ground, wrap the string line around both these posts, and get the post straight in line. When they decided to set up the string line, they wanted to drive a stake to tie the string line off to. Normally that wouldn't have been a problem, but for one reason or another, instead of driving the string line on the face of the post like we typically do, we drove a stake clear over here and punctured a copper water line. From here, this fitting, all these lines, all the way to here had to be replaced. Now, those of you that know me know that I fly airplanes. One of the things they talk about that crashes airplanes is not one thing happening, but it's a series of events that cascades, and that's how you end up with your airplane in a pile of molten metal on the ground and everybody dying. And Tuesday, we were that airplane wreck. We were in the pile of molten metal on the ground, not flying through the air gracefully anymore, and it all started right here with one bad decision, with one thing not being paid attention to, and we didn't follow instructions, and that led to our plane crashing. So when we hit the water line, this is on this side of the house. I needed to focus my attention on getting the water line done, and we're doing some of the exact same fence, beautiful fence that you see behind me on the other side of the yard, and we needed to get all those posts set. That did not go smoothly, which was a surprise to me because we had set all these posts the day before, and we basically needed to, in the words of the instruction manual on the shampoo bottle, rinse, lather, and repeat. That's all we need to do. Rinse, lather, repeat. So we went over here to this side of the yard. We did not rinse, lather, and repeat. Well, we kind of did. So let me back up just a little bit more. The day before, we set all these posts twice, or at least most of them. We got up to maybe here. We maybe didn't set 6 of these twice. And the reason that we had to set them twice is because we took our eye off the ball and we forgot all about quality. These posts are all tamped in the ground, 3 feet minimum. So we bought 10-foot posts and set them 3 feet, maybe some of them are 3.5 feet. And the reason we did that is because concrete actually accelerates the rotting process, and we don't want to accelerate the rotting process. That was proved when we removed some fence on the other side, and the boards were rotten, but the posts were still in perfectly good shape, and if those had been in concrete, they would have probably been rotted off. So we were tamping the sand back in around these posts, but instead of tamping it in layers or lifts, as you would say, we basically filled the hole completely full of sand and then tried to pack it from the top down, and that doesn't work. So what we ended up happening is I could take those posts and with almost zero effort move those posts all over the place, and so I just pulled them all out and we started over again and set them the right way. I was hoping that we learned our lesson from doing that on Monday and that we could basically just copy everything over here. Again, rinse, lather, and repeat. But let's come over here and we'll talk a little bit about what we did. So at the end of this video, we'll talk about what we could have done to prevent some of these accidents. But right now, we're just going to cover all the accidents, and then we'll get to the moral at the end of the story. So right here used to be a palm tree, and it wasn't a problem because this was just a rail fence. And the rail fence, the palm tree just kind of came up on the inside of the rails and everything was good. The rails were probably out to right here. Our fence needed to go right through here, and so we were setting the string line up right here. And obviously the string line was over the top of the palm. Temporarily, we had the string line wrapped around the back side of the palm until the homeowner over here, who actually owned the palm, decided whether or not we were going to be allowed to remove that palm, or if we needed to move the fence inside just a little bit to come around it. But in the meantime, we just had the string bent around this palm, so you can see it was probably 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6 inches out of alignment. And the instruction was given to go ahead and dig all the holes on this side, and we still had the string over here, meaning that we would have had a big bend in our fence where the customer did not ask for a bend in their fence. We don't get to charge extra for those things, unfortunately. That's what we call a deduct. So we dug all these holes and they were out of alignment. The other problem we had is the customer had given us specific instruction to end the fence right here at the front of the house, and instead we had our fence ending like right here. So we had all these holes dug, and by the time we noticed that the fence had stopped here, we'd already dug and shaved these holes once, and we had to come back a second time and move these holes, respace them out, reproportionalize them all the way down the fence line and get them in the right spot, which meant that probably 80% of these holes had to get dug a second time. After that happened, we went ahead and started setting posts. We went ahead and tied our string line off to the 4x4s, then started setting posts right up against the string. My instruction is typically to leave the string 1/4 of an inch off of the post, and that ensures that we don't continually bump the string with every successive post, making the string incrementally out of alignment as we go towards our end point. So we had set the posts up against the string, and by the time we were almost to the end here, we were probably out again that much. So we ended up, yay! Hey, they're working. We gotta let them do their job. They're actually doing something. I'm over here just running my mouth like usual. So we gotta let them do their job. And Austin nods. One more after this. Okay, so like I said, we don't set the posts right on the string because they can incrementally force the string out, so that by the time you get 20 posts set, you're pushing the string every so slightly with every one if you're not paying attention. So my instruction is always to leave it 1/4 of an inch off, and that instruction didn't get followed, and that led to us being about that far off by the time we got about 3 posts back behind me. So we pulled those posts out. We started setting them again after we pulled those out, and inevitably somebody had leaned a post up against the string, so it was out yet again. Nobody caught it. We started setting. We probably had 4 or 5 posts set and had to pull them out again because we were right there again out of alignment. So really fought this line, and all this was happening while I was on the other side of the house trying to take care of the water line with another team member, and it's just, that's what crashed our plane. So with all the things that were going on, it was hot, just like it is today, 85 degrees, 70% humidity or whatever it was, and it's gonna get hotter. But you know, tempers are flaring, people were frustrated because they were having to do their work over and over again, and that led to words being said. So unfortunately, the homeowner got to hear some of those frustrations come out in a very poor manner. That was kind of the icing on the cake. Now, with all that being said, for like the last probably hour and a half of the day, everything went very smoothly. We had kind of a talk, we calmed down, and we started getting things done. And the reason we started getting things done is because we decided we're either gonna live as a team or die as a team. But either way, we can either make it as miserable or pleasant as we want, and we have to make that choice. And so really, I think that the overall moral of the story for that day was nobody was working as a team. There was no leadership, there was no team captain, and everybody was kind of trying to do their own thing, and there was a whole bunch of infighting with everybody trying to figure out what the pecking order was and who was in charge and who was going to be responsible for all the mistakes that were happening, when inevitably it was all our problem. It was all our fault, and we all got to pay the price of not working together as a team. So we talked about that pretty in depth at the end of the day and said, you know, that last hour and a half was probably our most productive, because we were all working towards a common goal. We all just at that point in time wanted to get that side done so we could go home. That's been one of my biggest challenges, is for people to realize that when we don't work together as a team, number one, nothing gets done, and number two, everybody's miserable. And number three, we end up doing things over and over again because we're not communicating. This is a very green crew. We're not dealing with years and years of experience where people know what to do. We're having to work with the talent that we have and try and make good things happen. And that's why it was so pivotal when that water line broke, that everything stopped, because the person that needed to be overlooking everything couldn't overlook that because he was dealing with another problem. So supervision, having good quality supervision, will hopefully eliminate some of these problems. We do have a couple more people that are going to start in about another week, and I'm hoping that again will bring some more talent and some more leadership, and help things go a little bit smoother. Yesterday I took the day off. I had to go and get some supplies and drive across Florida. And if you want to know how much it costs to drive across Florida without a truck that's registered in Florida weighing 44,600 pounds, it's $1,855. That's how much it costs, plus fuel. I stopped in, tried to do the right thing, stopped in at a weigh station and tried to buy a trip permit, and they informed me that I could not buy a trip permit there, but they would happily find me and then sell me a trip permit, and the total of that was $1,855. So thank you, Department of Revenue, FDOT, for that. That's a good lesson learned. We will not operate our vehicles in Florida without a Florida registration anymore, because that was an expensive lesson. I did have my logbook. I was all legal other than that, but even though my truck was registered for 40,000 pounds in Wyoming, that meant nothing in Florida. They took me all the way back down to 10,000 pounds and then fined me 5 cents per pound from 10,000 to 44,600. So I love the government. Oh no, you don't have to do that.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Scott.
Yep, just get us the invoice and we'll take it from there.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah, exactly. On to the next. Yeah.
My first favorite part's when all the posts are set. My second favorite part's when I get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great work. Excellent job. Appreciate you guys. Good hard work and just quality craftsmanship. A good team. I know you're learning from one of the better ones, so take notes and keep it up. But great job to SWI. Appreciate them.
Teaching the next generation here. So that's how our Tuesday went, how our Monday went a little bit, and how our Wednesday went. And I hope you're having a much better day than we had, and I hope your week's much more productive than us, and hopefully you're learning something from these. Maybe if all you learn is how not to do things, maybe that'll work for you. But regardless, I hope you have a good dang day, at our expense if you must.